Now, before we get into, hey there, it's Amy. Before we get into what we are about to get into, a web of rage, I remembered. Yes, I know, a miracle. No, seriously. Sometimes I remember what I told you to remind me, right? I told you to remind me about DoorDash Girl. A wild story. Insane. Beyond. That came to mind when we talked about DoorDash whistleblower allegations recently in the news, and when we talked about Ring and how it became a $1 billion company recently. Both DoorDash and Ring, as I said before, happen to be stars in this story somehow, and I'm sure neither particularly enjoy that either, because, well, let's just say, not a story anyone wants in on. And why now, huh? What does 2025's DoorDash Girl have to do with Mohan? We were just talking about Mohan from Phir Dil Hai Hindustani. Let's start with this, shall we? Okay. If Mohan from Phir Dil Hai Hindustani were recast, all right, as a random guy online, say, an ordinary dude grieving his daughter's tragedy and got smeared by another random person, you know, a smear campaign where your reputation is smeared. So he's just an ordinary dude and he's grieving his daughter's tragedy. He gets smeared by another random person, like a viral TikTok creator, akin to the infamous DoorDash Girl. The scenario would explode into a hyper-accelerated, decentralized nightmare, far deadlier even than the film's TV orchestrated plot. So, in this updated film, let's say, we are creating maybe a neighbor or passerby, okay? Films Mohan, he's in distress. He's protesting injustice or something, okay? And this neighbor or someone passing by posts a twisted clip. This creep threatened me. Total psycho. No context, just emotional bait. Algorithms push it to millions within minutes, tagging him #PredatorDad or #ThreatToKids. Next thing you know, viral duplication. Thousands stitch duet with outrage. There it is. Saw his face, lock him up. Fake accounts, bots, AI, deepfakes, flood identical scripts, cloning his photo onto crime scenes. A doxing cascade, address, workplace, family unearthed via reverse image search, Reddit, TikTok, threads, map his life, urging justice visits. Oh my goodness. Because unlike film, no elite gatekeepers anyone joins, turning Mohan's grief into a meme template for clout chasers. And we all know the very real and horrific ways this updated film plot we are creating, how it can go from there. Real life consequences, all of them life changing, scary, serious, and many escalating into very, very dangerous consequences, depending. Film's reputation, smear campaigns, needs power and coordination in the original film. Politicians, TV. The online version of our remake here requires 0 resources, 1 phone, 1 lie. Mohan wakes up to global infamy. No recourse. Platforms profit from rage. Laws lag. AI fakes. Public memory locks. Guilty emotionally. Right? Because we all know the more emotional you are, the less likely you are to be rational, logical, pause, or fact check. Random attacker wins. They vanish or pivot to, I was scared. Well, Mohan, or maybe you, bleeds out. Reputation. Life. DoorDash girl proves. Innocent guy smeared first, then flip. Scale to grief like Mohan's, and it's lethal chaos anyone can trigger tomorrow. Now, for the DoorDash girl saga, we have arrived. 2025's gripping lesson in viral consequences. This real world drama shows how one delivery spiraled into felonies and ruined reputations. October 12th, New York. The fateful drop-off. A customer, let's call him Chad, okay, passes out drunk on his couch after a tough night. Pants displaced in the fall. His DoorDash order sits by a slightly open door. Driver Livy Rose Henderson arrives for the contactless delivery. Rather than leave the food and go outside of his door, as was the actual instructions and delivery option, she goes out of her way for no reason to instead push open his door. Why? She then decides to basically, spy on this man in his open doorway after opening his door without his instruction when the delivery was supposed to be left sitting outside the door, and then decides to take out her phone. She takes out her phone in this man's doorway. She opened without permission and looking inside his home at him sleeping without his permission and starts to record him. That's right. Record him in his home after opening his door without permission. Record him sleeping without his consent, without his knowledge. Record him sleeping and expose. He doesn't know she's there. He's drunk, he's sleeping, his pants are down. She's supposed to leave it outside. He thought he closed the door. Record him sleeping and exposed on her personal camera, on her personal phone, his body. And then decides to, wait for it, post these images, a video of his private residence and his private exposed image, him, online for how many strangers to see? How many strangers? Oh, you know. 30 million random strangers everywhere on TikTok. Oh, it gets better, actually. As if she hasn't done enough wrong in general or harm to this sleeping innocent man who was just hungry and ordered a service. By exposing him for no reason, sleeping in his own home without permission for all of it. That's enough. Yeah, she also then, well, it's unbelievable, really. It's unbelievable. I said it is crazy, and well, crazy it is. You will have to hear it for yourself. This is what she wrote under this exposed video of this poor sleeping intoxicated man in his own home with no pants for everyone to see. It reads, door wide open, customer with pants down, staring at me. This is sexual assault. DoorDash punish me for reporting. You heard that right. She victimized a random hungry drunk stranger paying for food delivery in his own home by posting him exposed online to strangers, many. And if that wasn't enough, I mean, can you imagine? She then destroyed. In addition to this, his reputation, which I think she already destroyed with the video. I mean, what about his family, his job? She destroyed his reputation more. She destroyed it all, anything possible, and did so with criminal claims. She is the victim somehow by not leaving the food outside and just taking a picture of the drop-off and leaving. She is the victim of this bad, strange man who paid for a service, delivery of food to be left outside. She chose to provide the service for income and should leave the food order outside the door. That's right, folks. Sexual assault to innocent victim, to her. She's the victim of. So the video surges, as I said, 30 million views. What a nightmare. Doxers target Chad. His personal information's everywhere, destroying his life, his safety. He becomes hashtag DoorDash predator overnight. Well, he's sleeping. He doesn't know. So the early reaction on social media, Livy is hailed as a hero. Yeah. Viewers rally behind her as a bold survivor. Duets demand justice. Threats flood Chad's life. Job alerts, family harassment. DoorDash responds. Privacy violation led to bans for both. Livy frames it as retaliation against whistleblowers. The story would be told differently, though, with us here now, if it wasn't for a ring, for cameras. If it wasn't for the pause, the fact check, the logical as opposed to easily controlled and manipulated emotion, rage, this story could have gone very, very differently. Here, and for any of us. Like, what if there were no cameras, for example, showing that the door wasn't open, that he wasn't showing what she did on camera. So at this point in the story, thank God, there were cameras. Sometimes there aren't. The evidence emerges. Reality check. Reality? Do we do reality anymore online? Check. Do we check anymore online? What are these foreign concepts? Evidence? Reality check? Yes. Ring footage. Thank God it was there. Finally, at this point, after all this, eventually reveals the truth because it was there. The door was minimally ajar. It was basically closed. He was Chad, right? Unconscious with no intent, no awareness at all. Police rule no assault occurred. Ring plays the role of, Ajay and Rhea. But what have we here? Just like in the film, the mob, in this case, changed directions online. Livy, sweetheart. You now get a taste of what you were wishing for others. And we don't need to get into how that went online as everyone realized the truth and turned on her after all this happened online, which was already awful and destructive, irreparable for him. But they turned on her. And I'm not going to get into the back and forth and all the drama after that and how she continued to deny accountability, deny responsibility, and continued even with all the evidence to play victim. Like I said, this stuff is insane. But that isn't all. And that is not the end. Because now we have a situation. A real one this time. Yeah. A situation based on facts, evidence, intent, choices, crimes, victimizing, victims. See, the real crimes and the real perpetrator. Livy's errors stack up at this point. Legal breach number 1, recording inside a private home without permission. New York felony for unlawful surveillance. Legal breach number 2, sharing the footage. Felony for distributing private images. Mischaracterization. No proof of deliberate exposure. She turned an accident into an assault claim, violating DoorDash's no customer video policy. Her video gets removed, but reposts and AI-enhanced counter-narratives proliferate. And what have we here? November 2025. Arrest and reversal. That's right. Livy faces 2 felony charges, appears in court, shielded by her father from the cameras. Why? She has her clothes on, and she's out in public, and she's aware that there are cameras. Who was shielding Chad? Speaking of Chad, who we call Chad, he endures lasting damage, job loss, stalkers, an eternal online stigma. That's forever, folks. TikTok's ecosystem keeps the debate alive. Facts often secondary to outrage. Yeah. Why it's so dangerously simple for anyone. Something out of our control, something we have no say in or control with, can affect us in dangerous ways. Someone making bad choices, such as here, filming a private moment without consent. That's not a good choice. We can't do anything about it. Can turn something that affects us, not making bad choices. Something like this here, a nap, argument, or a mishap caught by a visitor turns into a viral weapon. It's a weapon, yes. Any tool can also be a weapon with the wrong person or wrong intention. When people amplify unverified accusations, someone else can be doxxed. Threats or worse can hit before verification. When people choose to ignore rules for attention, well, platforms reward shock. Truth then fights an uphill battle. Even if it's the truth, it's already at a disadvantage. The chilling takeaway. No conspiracy needed. Just a smartphone. Impulse and algorithms. Chad's private lapse became public infamy. Livy's bid for sympathy earned charges. Your next vulnerable moment could spark the same storm. There are some naked emperors around us. And in this case, it is actually not even the person with no pants on. Unchecked entitlement, arrogance, especially without intelligence and decision making, has real world and possibly devastating consequences for everyone else around them. Crowdsource wisdom isn't wisdom without truth or thought. And truth and thought do not seem to correlate with emotion, with rage, which is why we are so easily manipulated and controlled and shown rage bait. Consider the source. We also talked about some real issues here. Real issues when we explored Katrina Kaif and Vijay Sethupathi in the Merry Christmas film, and my concerns about false allegations with serious, irreversible, and sometimes devastating consequences, and moments Me Too went wrong, which I know we also have to get into soon. Like I said, we should talk about it. Actually, that also reminds me of another crazy story. Maybe I shouldn't use that word specifically to describe a similar shocking story online of dangerous allegations and professionalism and power dynamics, abuse of power, and things that are not always as they first seem. So, I guess remind me to add that one to our list, eh? Where were we? Oh, yes. Come on. Rage bait in human form, in a way. Do you know who we are zooming in on next? No camera phones, but more bad choices triggered by rage.